face. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year.
Good morning, Gryphons. Let's start off with an interview with Silvia Young for Women's History Month. Why don't you start off by introducing yourself?
My name is Silvia Young, and I am an author, a playwright, an activist. I organize for policy in California, and I wear many hats based on my lived experience of being gaslit medically for 25 years and discovering I had a very real disease called endometriosis, which 1 in 10 have, which cost me my family planning and career goals. So I hope to change the narrative for the next generation.
What do you advocate for, and what inspired you to take on your role as a person?
I advocate for youth and their right to accurate body literacy and agency. Our bodies change during puberty. And if you're a menstruator, that can bring on a lot of new pain that you didn't have prior to menstruating. Now, because of old-fashioned narratives that are based in gender discrimination, what youth are told is that it's just a bad period or normal pain. That is very, very damaging misinformation. And what youth need to be told is that first, they need to be believed and not dismissed. Give the youth space to be heard and give them resources that will be helpful. We are in education, after all, and we should be about empowering the youth voice and to make sure they have access to the best information possible. Now, and every day lost due to pain that you have to stay home or do worse on your exams or not show up as thriving as you could show up because there aren't allowances made in school. This is why I'm here to help say these seeds at the very beginning have very real consequences. Unfortunately, I did not have access to that information. So I did go through infertility and I am currently disabled. So the career that you see is very much space I created by myself because there wasn't currently space for me. The fact that everyone thinks that pain is normal is part of the propaganda machine of, keeping women oppressed. Their right to their own pain and to use their voice and say, I'm in pain, has been completely squashed. And that's a problem. Because if we start not believing our own intuition about our own pain and our own right to say, no, this isn't normal, something is going on, then parallel situations happen where you will also be squashing your intuition, squash their voice. All because it's not your experience doesn't give you the right to tell you what their experience is.
Let's move on to the next question. What work have you done towards solving these issues or educating people about them?
I write books, but this is how I got into it. There is so much shame and stigma in this topic. So I figured, if I can write my story, then I can inspire others to write their stories. So I wrote my story first, and I just lived in all that societal shame and stigma. And then what? I survived. Nothing happened. After I wrote my memoir, I decided that it wasn't about me because I do recognize my privilege. And it was about normalizing other people's voices that didn't have the same privilege that I had. So I started collecting other people's stories and I wrote the play Gaslit, which has a ton of different experiences from women all over the world. I started to write anthologies. And my new anthology is called Good Girl, Bad Period. It's out later this year, and it has over 80 stories globally of women about your age going through this and the 10 years of gaslighting that literally destroys their lives. You see them persevere, and there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of change makers in our community that you don't even know about. We're celebrating the real women making real changes in their communities. So besides writing books and speaking on the books and speaking to as many youth groups as I can, as the tampon tax, to make sure we don't get taxed in California, I moved on to 2 other bills to do with menstrual equity, and I wrote my own bill, which we are introducing hopefully this year, called Empower Pupils Women's Health Training, which is essentially a sensitivity bill for anyone interacting with students so they don't re-traumatize students with this false gender discriminatory language of dismissing their pain. So created a nonprofit called Fem Truth Youth, which we use to as a vessel really to show my play in communities to help start conversations and then to transition that to centering youth voices.
For the students watching, what can they do to help empower women in their own communities?
Normalizing these conversations and holding space for people who have different experiences than you. And their mental health is now being impacted because people aren't believing them. And it doesn't just happen in school, it'll happen with their family groups because this is generational gaslighting. Your mothers have been gaslit, your grandmothers have been gaslit. This is the generation that stops the gaslighting. And it's going to be very hard because your teachers were gaslit. It starts with the youth because you can do it with your voice, holding space for your friends and listening to their experiences and not believing that we have to be shamed and silenced about our health. Right now, we relate menstruation with something gross. A lot of people say, well, why do you talk to people so young? That's way too young. It's not too young. Youth can experience pain. We have shown as young as 8 years old. When should the conversation be happening? That your generation, it's going to be the generation that makes change in women's health.
Question is, what is one piece of advice you wish someone would have told you growing up?
Listen to your intuition. Girls are conditioned to abandon their intuition, and that is so damaging. And society doesn't even realize in how many ways they underestimate a girl's intuition. Believe your intuition. You will be gaslit about your health, especially your mental health and your period-related health, but you will be gaslit because of your gender, and that has to stop. So I think that my biggest piece of advice is believe your intuition. Use as a derogatory term. So why would anyone admit, oh, wait a minute, I'm that, you know what I mean? I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
Absolutely silences and shames a community, and people don't even realize they're doing it. It affects our self-esteem. We talk about mental health in youth now, right? That's all the rage, right? Oh, we're talking about mental health. That's fantastic. But how about what you're doing to contribute to mental health outcomes? And this is exactly that. You're creating divisiveness amongst the student population. You're allowing this kind of derogatory terminology to happen from every which way as just it is what it is. It's not. Comfortable biases we need to talk about. And those biases hurt when they come from female teachers, female educators. And that's what we have to realize is gaslighting is generational. It's been going on for generations. They don't know what they don't know. You are before the gaslighting is set in, because once that gaslighting is set in, it is really tough. It's like dealing with a brainwashed society. It's discrimination. It's everything we're trying to unlearn, but we're ignoring.
What was your favorite middle school memory?
Okay, so this is really kind of funny because I told my kids, I have kids during high school, and they were just like, oh no, that's so cringy, don't say that. But it's really true. It's when I discovered Judy Blume's book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That was one of those books that just opened my world and made me feel like I had a friend or someone that understood something, a little secret I had to reading and to the possibilities of what you can learn through reading and finding the right authors to read, how it can just really open your mind and provide you a much healthier mindset. So that book was life-changing. I used to be a competitive dancer. So I used to go with my dance team and compete a lot during junior high, middle school years. And one year we won state championship. And it was a great bonding experience for us all. And we still talk about it to this day, which is like So sad.
Near the end of our interview. Thank you so much for joining us and for
Yes.
telling us everything that you did today.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm always recruiting. So if any youth would like to learn more about FemTruth Youth, which is our nonprofit, and we have a youth advisory board, please let me know. We are always accepting new voices. And if you'd like to bring Gaslit, a 3-act play to your school or community, let me know. That's a really great way to open the conversation. And if you'd like to get involved in this latest policy, let me know, because your elected officials always want to hear from you, the youth.
Next, let's talk about Trans Visibility Day.
Hi, Gryphons!
Trans Day of Visibility is dedicated to celebrating the achievements and accomplishments of transgender and non-conforming people. Laverne Cox is the first person to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in the acting category.
Jazz Jennings was born October 6, 2000, and is a YouTube personality, spokesmodel, and LGBT rights activist. She was the first person to be publicly documented and identified as transgender. She is a co-founder in the Trans Kids Purple Rainbow Foundation to assist transgender youth.
Paige publicly came out as transgender in December 2020. In March 2021, he became the first openly trans man to appear on the cover of the Time magazine. He won the Austin Film Critics Association Award for Best Actress in 2006, among many other awards and nominations.
Remember not to assume anyone's pronouns. It's disrespectful to the individual.
You can raise awareness by sharing accurate information with your peers, donating, researching, and more.
Bye, Gryphons.
Hey Gryphons, today we're going to talk to you about the Trans Day of Visibility.
But Nilesh, what is the Trans Day of Visibility?
The International Transgender Day of Visibility is an event occurring annually on March 31st, dedicating to celebrating transgender people and raising awareness about the discrimination they face and their contributions to society.
So let's take a look at how you can be a better ally.
One way you can be a better ally is by not assuming people's gender, because you cannot assume someone's gender based on their appearance.
Another way you can be an ally is by never assuming a person's pronouns. Always ask beforehand.
However, please don't force somebody to tell you, especially if they're uncomfortable. Also, remember pronouns do not equal gender.
You can also help out by not asking what a transgender person's real name is.
And by understanding that gender identity and sexuality are two very different things, because one does not affect the other. Remember that everyone transitions differently and that there is no right way to. Please be patient with those who are questioning their sexuality and avoid backing compliments and tips such as "you look like a real woman."
Please be kind and respect others. Thank you, Gryphons.
Now for a little more about the upcoming Spirit Day.
Hey, Gryphons, this Friday is Wacky Wednesday.
Be sure to wear crazy colors, patterns, and crazy hair.
This is also an opportunity to get your stamp card stamped.
Make sure you guys participate.
Bye, Gryphons!
That's all for today. See you next time on Gryphon News.